Hey friends, welcome back to Seasonally Productive. Today I'm going to give one last garden tour and start cleaning out the gardens. Yeah, this is going to happen over several days, so big jobs.
Yard work is fun!
Been putting it off. Kind of what happens is in July, I don't know, whenever the garden really starts producing is when I kind of give up on taking care of it. So then it's left like this. This is the mulch garden. The strawberries do not have mulch. I'm hoping to mulch them with some straw, but they need to be weeded. They are actually still producing for us. You see some red berries in there. We've been getting actually quite a few berries off of them this late summer, early fall. And then this is where the garlic was. We had peas and beans in here. Everything needs to come down. These are the little row of tomatoes, more beans, some corn. I got my cucumbers, fennel, tomatillos, tomatoes, and then of course we have asparagus down at the end that's going to stay in, of course. But yeah, things just need to be tidied up here. I am leaving beans out to dry on the pods for seeds, the ones that my son has not picked. So that's that. Today I am starting with the strawberries, giving them some love, really. So I am going ahead and weeding between the rows, within the rows, all around the plants. I have kind of let them just shoot off their runners, and I think that's what I'm going to do kind of in the late falls, is let them run, and then in the spring I will worry more about forcing their energy into fruit production rather than new runners. And that's pretty much all I got done on this day, was just got my strawberry bed cleaned up. So it is October 9th. We have had our first hard frost last night, very much later than the almanac said, and it's time to get this garden cleaned out. So now I'm slowly going through and pulling off the beans and pea plants and making sure I check for the pods so I can save seeds. Now you might be wondering, why go through all this trouble? Why didn't you just eat the peas? Why would you bother doing this when you can just buy seeds online or at your local hardware or grocery store or garden center? And the reality is, yeah, you absolutely can do any of those things. However, saving seeds is number one and the most obvious, a cost saver, because then you don't have to buy seeds next year. Number two, in the event that you cannot get the seeds, the varieties that you want, you have your own saved. And another reason for me, probably the biggest reason, is just honestly just the principle of it, and having my own seeds that I worked for, and just kind of, again, it's like voting with my dollar. Seed companies are absolutely wonderful, but I can also do that myself, and I don't need to be using my money for things like that. So not just like a cost savings, but more than that, right? All right, so now we're in the kitchen. You guys know this season is all about preserving, cleaning out, and seed saving. So I'm going to go through what we picked, beans and peas, a few marigolds, and get them kind of prepped to dry. On this tray, I have fennel drying. It's just the fennel fronds on this cookie sheet. This is actually one, let's see if I can show you without dumping this, with holes, with holes in the bottom. And that's the one I like to use, but you could use whatever. Even just put a layer of newspaper or another towel underneath, and that'll help to absorb moisture as well. So I have my fennel fronds and then a tea towel. And actually on here I just have some beans from another batch that weren't fully dry. So they're hanging out there. Now I'm going to go through this bowl and show you how we do this. So first off, we have these potatoes. These are going to go in our soup for tomorrow. I'm not saving them for anything other than fresh eating. So I'm gonna put those to the side. And now we can focus on the rest. So the marigolds, I'm actually not going to put on here just because I need the space for the beans and the peas. These I'm just going to, you can just throw them into a paper bag just like this. I'm probably going to leave them out on paper to dry a little more. You can also just gently pull the petals, and that's the seeds, so you could do that and let them dry that way. Whatever you like to do. I'm probably going to let them dry a little bit like this and then pull the seeds and let them dry fully before putting them in an envelope. So I have all those marigolds, and those were all, I believe those were all from saved seed actually. So now we've got beans. The peas actually we're not going to put on here because they are crunchy and dry, so we'll get to those in a minute. First up, I'm going to just lay down all the beans. Ones like this, I mean, I should have actually went and done a final harvest of these skinny ones so that we could eat them before the frost hit them. I don't think they're really worth drying. You can feel them, and if there's no pod in there or bean in there, then they're definitely not worth drying. Or if they're just really small, those are immature seeds, so they may or may not germinate properly. But ones like this, you can see the seed in there. It's nice and firm. We're gonna get those dried. Yes, I did consider separating these as I was picking, but what would be the fun in that? And realistically, I could have left these out in the garden, but I decided to pick them, and I'm probably gonna throw them in our soup tomorrow. Okay, so ones that are more dried, you can open them up. These ones still have a bit of moisture in them, but the seed just pops right out nicely. That is what I like. I am gonna let these ones dry a little more just because the pod was a little bit, had some moisture in it yet. But it's so much easier doing it that way. Last year I did not dry the pods. I went ahead and split these all open and extracted the seeds, and my thumbs hurt so badly, like my thumbnails. It wasn't worth it. And then I tried this year drying them, and it works phenomenally. They just pop right out. Which brings me to the peas. We're gonna set this aside. There's gonna be more beans, but they're underneath the peas. So the peas actually had a chance to dry on the plant, which is awesome. So I'm gonna get some bowls, and I'm going to just crack these open them up, and put them in a bowl, and have the shell go in a waste bowl for the compost. Now you will be able to tell by sound and by feel if there is still a little bit of moisture in them. What we don't want to happen is for these to mold or rot, so we want to make sure that they are completely dried. Once I get them all shelled here, I'll see what the moisture, the average moisture level kind of feels like, if I decide to lay them out as seeds or not. It's actually super fitting that I'm doing this job today because we are actually leaving for our homeschool meet shortly here, and we're doing a seed exchange, so that's really fun, and I'm excited to see what others bring and what we can share. Oh, see, that's moldy. I do not want to put that in with my seeds. Another reason for anyone interested in genetics, I guess, would be that if you have planted an heirloom variety, then you will have true seed. And you might think, well, isn't that how all seeds came to be? But the truth is no. With plant breeding genetics, not GMO, plant breeding is not GMO. Plant breeding can result in desired outcomes. When you save seed from a plant that is not an heirloom, what happens is the offspring of that plant, if you know anything about genetics, the offspring of that plant will show traits from either parent. So they will not all be the same. The same way you and your siblings are not all the same. Very cool, very interesting. I actually had butternut squash saved seed this year, and all of the offspring, the fruit, were different. It was very, very interesting. And that's like a totally simple, easy experiment to do to analyze the offspring of plants. So anyway, because I'm a plant nerd, I think it's neat. I enjoy just the process of it as well, like going beyond what we eat, right? So letting that plant continue its cycle until its natural death and drying process. Yeah, there's something beautiful about that as well. So I think I made the decision to dry these further. There's quite a bit of moisture in some of them, and the extra drying will not hurt anything. When they're really dry, you can hear them rattle. Now, this may look like a lot of seeds, and it is a lot of seeds, but keep in mind that these likely won't all germinate, and the ones that germinate may not all grow, and the ones that all grow may not all produce. So it's kind of a percentage, and over the years, once you get closer to that heirloom, the heirloom parents of your seeds, then I think you'll have a higher success rate. For example, I planted 48 pepper plants this year, or 50, and I think I got peppers off of maybe 8 of them. So yes, it is a lot of extra work, which means you have to want to do it for more than just the cost savings. Right, so there's my beans. I do have some more to get from the other garden. Yeah, you just kind of want to lay them out. I mean, try not to have them too clumped together, but they can overlap a bit. And just check on them every so often. I'm going to leave these for, probably over a month, but I will have to check on them frequently. And once they are dry, they will peel apart just like the peas. Now, because the peas don't need as long to dry anymore, I'm putting them on a smaller tray by themselves. And that's it, guys. Thanks so much for hanging around with me. I hope I inspired you to save some of your own seeds this fall. It really is an enjoyable process and super satisfying come springtime. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.